I am Caleb Anderson, and this is the Spirit Farm Podcast. Spiritual growth for real life in real time. So you jump in the back of the boat. Did it happen when you were getting in, or when you were
at the end of my
finishing
water
up?
ski? So at the end of the ski, I drop the rope and signal so that the driver can come around and pick me up.
Yeah.
And he starts the turn at a high speed, and something happened that he was thrown out of control of the boat. And what we believe happened is hit some wood, and at the same time kind of two waves cresting, so kind of a perfect storm of a couple things that threw the boat sideways, and the driver got thrown out of control of the boat. Thankfully, nobody in the boat. My family and his wife were thrown out of the boat, but it was close. Like, they just all were like, whoa, what in the world?
They all jolted.
Thrown. And by the time I'm sitting in the water, and you see a boat turning at high speed, normally it's slowing down, it's coming at you, and I knew something was wrong when the boat was up at a high angle and it was going really fast. And then I could see them trying to get back control of the boat, and I'm like, oh, this is not good. But I was on a water ski rope, so it's short, and it was a quick amount of time. And the boat hit me, and I just remember cussing like a sailor, just yelling. But then it kind of after, I didn't realize I'd been cut. I just kind of hit me, and I cussed, and then I was like, oh, okay, well, that was bad. But then I saw blood in the water, and I couldn't breathe. And honestly, Caleb, at that moment, I was sure I was dying. And I was pretty confident it was like seconds I had left, because I've never had that experience of not being able to breathe. And seeing blood in the water, I just figured I'm done.
You said that you thought that you were dying. You see blood, you can't breathe.
Yeah.
What in that moment? Maybe it's a few seconds. Maybe it seems like a minute, but it's I don't know.
Yeah.
How quickly was that transition before they pulled you in the boat, and what was going through your mind?
Yeah. When I thought I was dying, I think I said it out loud. It certainly was a very clear thought in my mind. I'm going home. I remember saying that.
Like heaven.
Yes, I'm going home to be with God. And at the time, I didn't have a huge emotional sense of this. It was later, because then I was in the hospital for a month. So over the next month, I thought about this day a lot, and I was conscious all the way to the hospital and surgery. So I have a lot of vivid memories of this particular time. And later in the hospital, as I'm thinking back, I go, I'm going home. I'm going home. And I remember thinking, instead of, oh my gosh, I'm leaving this earth, this is terrible, I'm about to die, I'm terrified, which honestly is what I thought I would have experienced. I've watched grandparents die or people die and thought, what would that be like? What would that feel like? That must be terrifying.
And your assumption was?
And my assumption was, it's going to be scary and awful, and I'm going to be freaking out. Yeah. And as I'm sitting in the hospital thinking about it, people are asking me this, hey, what was it like? What do you remember? I'm like, I remember saying I'm going home, but honestly, it was, I'm going home.
Today, on this teaching edition of the podcast, I want to talk about the prophet's meditation. The prophet's meditation comes from this ancient story from the Hebrew scriptures about a prophet named Elijah. Now, I read that story before, I'd heard that story before, years and years past, but recently when I was rereading it, something struck me for the first time. Because, probably, I've been practicing more concentrated prayer. I've been practicing meditation. Our culture is a little bit obsessed with meditation these days, and it's nothing new. This has been going on from the origins of humanity, but we're starting to see in our over-digitized, crazy-paced, overwhelmed culture that we are craving stillness. In the story about Elijah, God says, here, come to the mouth of the cave. I'm going to show you my presence. You're going to experience me. The first thing that happens is this massive wind comes through, like such a strong wind that the rocks are coming off the cave and crashing down below. But the text says God was not in the wind. Whatever that means. God created the wind and all of that, so it's kind of confusing. But I think the point is, God is not showing himself in the wind. He wanted Elijah to stay strong, to continue to be still, and to keep waiting for something else. That's the point. And what happens to us when we sit, when we're still, when we start to reflect, when we close our eyes, and we invite God to speak to us, is that there's a wind of worry that rushes over us. You know what I'm talking about. Those thoughts that come up. Oh, what if this and this happens? Oh, I've got to get started on, this is a worst case scenario and it might play out. Oh, I've got to hustle. I shouldn't be here sitting still. I got to go further. I got to go faster. I'm not making enough money. The winds of worry come and they shake us up. Wait through the winds of worry.